Hey, Bimalesh. So I wanted to talk to you about a couple of things. The first thing that I think is the most important in this feedback that I'm giving you has to do with the issues of plagiarism. Now, if you remember, I talked to you about how I'm not worried about citations on things right now, but what I'm really concerned with is that you on most of this paper is actually copied and pasted from another website. So for example, if you're looking from right here, right, all of this, you just copied and pasted, right? And it came from this Talkspace website. I was able to find it pretty quickly. What the problem is here is that this qualifies as plagiarism, right? And because this is an example of plagiarism, if you submit this as your final paper, I'm going to have to give you a 0 on this assignment. So what you're going to want to do is check through the rest of this paper to see if you have copied it directly from websites. And it looks like you have. Right here is another example. I can tell this comes from another website. You copied and pasted it in. Here's a problem. And this is actually in the instructions as well. So if you take a look at the instructions for this assignment, item number 5, you must rewrite the research findings using your own words with the present tenses, right? The simple present, present continuous, and the perfect tenses, as well as those simple past tense and the present perfect verbs. So you need to rewrite those things. You need to read them, understand them, and then put them into your own words. What you've done here is you've just copied and pasted. And I'm grading somebody else's writing and not yours. So this is hugely, hugely important that you go in and do this. Now, in the areas where you did write, there are some common things that I'm seeing here. So for example, right here up at the top one, this is an example of a sentence fragment. You need to make sure that you're looking for subjects and verbs in each of these things, right? Right here, this one is really interesting because you have examples of sentence fragments, but you also have examples of run-ons. So what you've done is you started off here with a dependent clause because it's hard making friends as an adult, right? And then you need an independent clause for that to make sense. But no, you then have another dependent clause because normally when people get older, they will be having a lot of responsibilities. Okay, so here you've got dependent clause followed up by a dependent clause. That makes it fragments, right? Because you have to have an independent clause with a dependent clause for it to make sense. Now, if you also look here though, afterwards, right, because normally when they get older, they will be having a lot of responsibilities to take care of house, bills, jobs, children needs, and job issues. You've got a comma here. That turns this into a comma splice or an example of a run-on. So right here, you need to actually go full stop, capital letter for an example. Like if there's someone who have been taken care of, his family and other responsibilities, he will not be having time to make friends. You need to make sure that you're following those punctuation rules and then making sure that each of your sentences, if they have a subject and a verb, and that if you have a dependent clause, that it's followed by an independent clause or vice versa. So you got to go through this. Other things, of course, formatting, indent at the beginning of each paragraph, right? Make sure everything is 12-point font and make sure that everything here is double spaced. So you got some work ahead of you. If you have any questions, let me know.